views and opinions expressed in Cold and Missing are exclusively those of the hosts. All parties mentioned are considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Cold and Missing also contains adult themes and languages and is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, everyone, and welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone. I am your co-host, Eli Solkowski, and this is my beautiful, talented, next to perfect wife,
Allie McLaughlin Solkowski, and I am your host for Cold and Missing, where we cover cold cases and unresolved missing person cases.
So for this week, we have a cold case.
Yes, this week we are covering a cold case. And just a content warning at the top here, we are going to be talking about violence against a child today.
Thank you for that content warning. Much appreciated, babe. So
today we are going to be talking about the cold case of Jennifer Delgado. And this takes place June 6th, 1988, in San Antonio, Texas. First, a little bit about Jennifer. Jennifer is 8 years old in 1988. She was born August 24th, 1979, and she had just finished her third grade year at Westwood Terrace Elementary School. She's described as a soft-spoken, sweet, and caring child, and she was known for wearing a red Mexican-style dress in class. A classmate of hers says, quote, "Everybody liked her. She was a good student," end quote. And that is Chris Palmer, who we're actually going to be talking a lot about in this case, because he's worked really hard to keep Jennifer's story active and in the media. So on Monday, June 6th, 1988, Jennifer and her mother, Melinda Delgado, who is 25 years old, are doing laundry at a laundromat across the street from their apartment on the west side of San Antonio. And this is at the corner of what is now West Rock Drive and Highway 90. As of 2023, it's a credit union, but in 1988, the laundromat was located in a strip mall with a convenience store next door and a beauty salon next to that. Jennifer's father was across the street at their home with Jennifer's other siblings. At around 8 p.m., Jennifer and Melinda are sitting in chairs near the front door, drinking sodas and doing the family's laundry. Jennifer and Melinda are alone in the coin-operated laundromat. Eventually, a young man enters the laundromat. He's wearing a white floral-patterned shirt and is described as being in his late teens or very early 20s. This man, he enters the laundromat just to use the soda machine. This is 1988, so it was 50-cent sodas. And the guy puts his coins into the soda machine and it eats his money. No soda comes out, he doesn't get a refund. This guy flies into a fit of rage and starts kicking and hitting the vending machine. He then produces a knife and stabs Melinda on her left side. Melinda screams for Jennifer to run home to her father, and as Jennifer gets up to run, the man stabs her in her stomach. Jennifer and Melinda run across the street to their home, but Jennifer collapses in the yard, and Melinda is yelling for her husband and for help. A neighbor, Vicky Martinez, says, quote, "She ran across the street with her daughter in her arms screaming. I wrapped a towel around the little girl before the ambulance arrived. Melinda was talking, but Jennifer had passed out," end quote. Meanwhile, the killer had gotten to a gray or silver two-door sedan. The car was driven by another man who police say may have been unaware of the stabbing that had just occurred inside of the laundromat. The car is described as either a Honda or a Chevrolet Chevette. The car drove south toward U.S. Highway 90. Jennifer and Melinda are rushed to Wilford Hall Air Force Medical Center. Melinda is in critical condition but survives the attack. However, Jennifer will pass away around 11 p.m. that evening from her wounds. Back at the laundromat, police immediately begin investigating the scene. They try to pull fingerprints from the coins the suspect used at the soda machine. Police say, quote, "This has got to be one of the most senseless murders. To stab a small child like that without any reason. We don't have any motive. We don't have any reason for it. We don't have anything," end quote. And that's Detective John Lopez of San Antonio PD. And then Chris Palmer, who is very familiar with this case, that is Jennifer's childhood friend. He's obviously an adult now. He says, quote, "Talking to Jennifer's mother, she didn't know who the person was. So it's not like there was any kind of anything against the family in particular. It was just, I don't know what would cause someone to, they're trying to get a soda from the vending machine. It doesn't work. I'm just going to stab someone. What was going on in that person's mind? End quote. So this is still June of 1988, but the end of June. So 2 weeks after Jennifer's murder, police announced that they are at a standstill with the case. Hoping to drum up some new leads on the case, the police will release a sketch of the suspect. Chris Palmer says, quote, in talking to the mother, she was able to give them some details and they put up a sketch, end quote. Jennifer's mother, Melinda, described the attacker as 17 or 18 years old, 5'2", clean-shaven, long, dark, wavy hair, a slender build, and is described as either a Hispanic or white male. At the end of June, Jennifer is also laid to rest. But then we really don't hear too much. At the 1-year anniversary, so this is June 6th of 1989, police announced that the case has come to a standstill. Over the last year, 17 people of interest emerged. That list was narrowed down to 3 and then down to 0. Everybody was able to provide an alibi that checked out, according to police. In June of 2001, so this is 13 years since Jennifer's murder, Chris Palmer organizes a candlelit vigil to remember Jennifer and get her case back into the media. Local news covered the event, and a priest comes to pray with the group gathered. Those in attendance talk about memories they had of Jennifer. Chris says, quote, it was just nice, us getting together, remembering her, and it was nice to know that I wasn't the only one that had not forgotten about her, end quote. Despite the media coverage, no new leads are discovered. In April 2012, so this is around 24 years since Jennifer had been murdered, police announced that they are reopening the case and re-looking at everything and hoping to get a more detailed fingerprint impression from those coins, and hoping that by working that piece of evidence a little bit more, something will come up. However, as of today, 2023, nothing has really come to light as far as those fingerprints or the 2014 reopening of the investigation. In 2021, so this is 33 years now, Chris Palmer establishes the Jennifer Sue Delgado Memorial Foundation to keep her memory alive and benefit students through scholarships and books. In August of 2021, the San Antonio police say, quote, at this point in the investigation, all possible leads have been exhausted. We ask anyone with information on this case to call our detectives at 210-207-7635. In June of 2022, so this is 34 years now that Jennifer has been gone, Chris Palmer is able to raise thousands of dollars to dedicate part of West Rock Drive as the Jennifer Sue Delgado Memorial Way. The signs are erected where the laundromat once stood. Also through the foundation, they're able to award the first scholarship in Jennifer's name, and they were able to purchase a book. So every student at Jennifer's elementary school, Westward Terrace Elementary, had a book to read over the summer. So that was all done in Jennifer's memory, which is really beautiful. On August 24th, 2002, on what should have been Jennifer's 43rd birthday, police asked the public for help in closing her case. And then September 2022, Chris Palmer requested the Texas Attorney General for their help in the investigation. And so in 2021, the Attorney General created a cold case and missing person office to help local law enforcement. So Chris Palmer reaches out to them, and they agree to help investigate Jennifer's case and to look into it. In the 34 years since Jennifer's been murdered, there has been no suspect in this case, nobody ever named in this case. And that is where we currently are as of 2023. Hopefully with the Texas Attorney General stepping in, hopefully there'll be a little bit more movement on this case and they're able to work some more evidence from the scene that hopefully they were able to collect at the time, and hopefully new DNA, new fingerprint technology, were able to drum up some suspects to look into, because this is such a senseless crime. If you know anything about what happened to Jennifer in June of 1988, you are encouraged to call the San Antonio Homicide Unit at 207-7635. Or to remain anonymous, you can call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-7867. And then the sources for today's podcast come from Ken 5 Eyewitness News, WOAI TV, the San Antonio Report, KSAT 12, KTSA, News 4 SA, and the Criminal Journal. Okay, so do you have any questions?
Yeah, my first question is to ask if there was cameras. I assume no. If
Yeah, no, in 1988, or at least nothing that was reported.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like maybe it was kind of small townish environment as well. Like their home was across the street from the laundromat is what I'm saying. So, if it was more of a smaller town, they may not be as high tech as if they were living in a really big, busier city,
Well, this is San Antonio, Texas.
I know, but I just didn't know if where they lived was a smaller pocket inside of San Antonio.
Maybe it did have more of a neighborhood feel, but I think more than anything it was just the date, 1988. I don't think it was very common yet for cameras to be at a laundromat. Maybe at banks and stuff they had kind of been introduced, but they hadn't made it to the laundromat yet.
It's wild what a jump in technology we've had from then to now because we have little cameras all over our house and it's so easy and pretty affordable to have a makeshift security system. So I don't know, I think about that a lot and just one camera would have that's all you really would have needed at the time, especially because it's the middle of the day. A camera on someone very clearly an individual who's acting erratic, you'll be able to see that person's face, I have less questions and more just man, the lack of everything at the time. And the behavior is just bizarre.
Yeah. I don't know how common it would have been to stop into a laundromat for soda because from what I could find, there was a convenience store next door. I would think that is the more logical place to go get a soda. But maybe it was closed. It was later at night. It was 8 p.m.
I also, this is very specific, but at my small college that I went to, there was one place on campus that had a vending machine that never changed their prices of soda. So it was I'm pretty sure it was 75 cents. But when I was there, in 2011, it was still 75 cents there the whole time. So I would walk across campus to get a soda from that place. And a lot of people did because it was cheaper.
Yeah, so maybe it's something like that. It's just a known thing.
That's why I asked
soda.
if it was a small town environment. If there's a weird thing in that town where everyone's this is where the cheap soda is.
Kind of what I think here, and looking at maps of where the laundromat used to be, there is an Air Force base really close by. And this being described as a young man. Melinda said 17 or 18 in her description, that's a high schooler, that's a young person.
Yeah, and I mean, did they say anything about the hair?
It's long.
A crew cut?
No, it was long.
Well, you wouldn't be let in without your hair cut first, so.
I guess that's true.
But if he's 17, he wouldn't have been able to anyway. But I don't know. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, the sketch, which...
I think that's worth mentioning, though. Definitely.
Yeah, the sketch that the police released, we'll upload it onto our Instagram so that way people can see it as well. But yeah, it is somebody with long, a man with hair to his shoulders, which in the 80s, I do not think they allowed long hair in the Air Force.
I don't think
they allow it now.
No,
yeah.
I'm thinking about my best friend's husband, who we know who's in the military, and he's always got.
Yeah. I don't, yeah.
He's every 2 weeks,
Yeah, I think for men, it's still kind of it can't
the
touch
high and
your
tight.
collar.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe.
But no, I think that's worth mentioning. That's like a large population of people right in that area too, like of a specific, like they're all doing the same thing. You know?
And when you look at, like, according to newspaper reports, they fled south, and that would have brought them into the highway, which would have led them into the Air Force Base, where it's ultimately where Melinda and Jennifer went for care that evening. You know, they went to the Air Force Medical Center. This case, though, it just really broke my heart. And Chris Palmer will include the foundation if you want to donate to the Jennifer Sue Delgado Memorial Fund.
Yeah, and if you can't donate, just at least share.
Yeah, we'll include that in our show notes so that way you can see the work that he's trying to do and establish for Jennifer. As, you know, in reading interviews with Chris as he got older, it really, like, hit him, like, how senseless this was. And, you know, he has a daughter now, and, like, when she turned 8, he was like, this is, like, how could anybody do that? Like, how could anybody, over a soda, like, over 50 cents, you know, like, you're going to stab 2 people?
Yeah.
Like that. I would think that somebody who is operating with that kind of, like, anger and rage and reaction in them may have committed a crime again, you know. I would imagine that a violent crime could be tied to this person.
Yeah, because that's very unpredictable. It's messy. You can tell that person was not, like, it wasn't a planned killing. Or if it was, they certainly weren't in their right mind when they were doing it. Before we continue on that, I wanted to just, like, speak to Chris a little bit. I think that there's a lot of different versions that a person can become after facing something like that, and the fact that, like, he made it his life's work to build something really beautiful out of these, like, tragedies, and not in, like, a, I don't know, like, self-seeking way. Like, it really is just, like, awareness and giving back to the community. Like, you know, like, a tragedy can really turn someone into someone that they didn't want to become. And I think it's beautiful that he, like, chose this for himself and, like, his community and the world, honestly.
Yeah, and for Jennifer, like, it's...
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, it was really hard to find news reports on her, which I think is really sad because this young girl, like, deserves... I say this every single time we talk about anybody, but it's like they deserve justice, you know, like every case deserves to get worked, and this little girl is, like, really deserves to get worked, you know. She deserved more. She deserved more in this life than what she got. And her family deserves some closure in that.
Yeah.
So again, if you know anything, oh, honey.
Well, okay. I think the thing that got me was that, like, when you said what the foundation was for, and it was, like, for books and what was the other thing? Books
a scholarship is awarded to a senior in the school district. They raise money. Their goal is to raise money every single year to send every student from Jennifer's elementary school home with a book for the summer for them to read. And then they wanted to erect the memorial way and get a part of the road dedicated, which they have accomplished. They were able to raise all the money, get it through city council and everything. So that is up. And you can see it today if you're in San Antonio.
Yeah. What I was going to say about that, what got me listening to that was, like, usually for foundations, especially people, you know, who pass later in life and it's a memorial fund, it's about something, like, very specific that they cared about, you know. And, like, what got me was that, like, she didn't even have the, like, we never got to know that about her. Her family never got to know if, like, it was, like, a dancing scholarship or, like, you know, if she was really passionate about science, or, like she didn't get to, like, have, like, those things don't exist for her. I don't know. That, like, really hit me for some reason, that, like, oh, you didn't even get to develop your special interest, like, your special little thing. Or maybe she was, like, just finding it.
Yeah.
And just, like, whew,
Right.
not here anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, because somebody got angry at a vending machine.
Yeah.
Again, if you know anything about what happened to Jennifer in 1988, please call the San Antonio Homicide Unit at 210-207-7635. Or to remain anonymous, you can call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-7867.
Wow. Thanks for, I don't know, taking the time to find that case. I'm sure it was kind of buried. Like a lot of the ones, honestly, when you tell me about your research process. So I feel grateful to have, like, learned about Jennifer and the family.
Yeah.
I'm hoping more people will talk about them now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always my goal, is to find cases that have never really gotten a lot of media coverage. If you have a case that's really important to you in your life, if you want us to cover it, please email us at coldandmissing@gmail.com. Or you could reach out to us on Instagram. You can follow us, Cold and Missing. Our DMs are open. Feel free to contact us through there as well. In the link in our bio, you can find all of the podcast links to your favorite platform. You can also buy us a coffee if you want to continue the work here at Cold and Missing and be a little part of our podcast. That's a great way to do it. And if you're in your podcast app now, go ahead and rate and review us. Give us a thumbs up, 5 stars, a written review. You know what I'm asking you to do, wherever you're at. The more people that give us a positive review, the more people get to hear about these cases ultimately. The algorithm is in charge of all of us. So
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah. So thank you so much, and have a good week, y'all. Stay safe.
Stay safe, y'all.